On this episode, we have Matt Puhy, professional musician, professional drummer. We talk about positive mindset, sobriety, and lifestyle changes amidst a global pandemic. This is A Few Choice Words, the Fueled by Choice podsnack, a tasty morsel of inspiration and stories of choice from some of our favorite humans in the world.
Out of all those like radio interviews we ever did on the road, like I have so much respect for those dudes now. It's like, we would, we would go and just like yell and like all talk at once, and the other guy's just like, I'm just trying to figure out this equipment.
Yeah, no, I can't help but respect them a little bit more too. We've had to do Zoom meetings with this producer dude, and like it's so fucking annoying. Just getting things to function, and then like, I don't know, being able to coordinate it, and everybody's talking over everybody and blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ. Come on.
Yeah, did you hear our first episode? Like Jason and I are talking at the same time. Like it's super awkward. Like
no.
we're gonna have to go back and edit this. We said and ope like 200 times.
Well, yeah, you don't realize it till after the fact.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it, but we're from Michigan, so it's like
it's that Midwestern vibe.
When
you're talking about milk.
It's all right, man. Well, Puhy, thanks for being our first guest on the Few Choice Words by Fueled by Choice podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So what's new in your life other than like I said, you're looking nice and jacked and in shape, man. Like it's funny because obviously I follow you on Instagram, in case you forgot.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite account.
But it was seeing some of those update photos of just like the changes you've made clearly, and it's crazy because you and I have spent a lot of time together over the past decade, but this is the longest I haven't seen you, which sucks. But, all things considered, man, it's cool to see like the updates where, you're clearly doing something positive and you made a huge change.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's, I couldn't help but kind of be wowed myself because I did one of those progress photos not too long after the new year. And, while you're going through and doing it, you don't really notice it, but I'd put the images like next to each other and it was 20 pounds heavier and whatever. I was like, holy shit. Like, I guess I'm doing something right. But yeah, it's really amazing. It's great to just feel healthy.
So the last time I saw you was like over a year ago at the last Wilson show. And since then you've moved, right? What kind of changes have you made?
Like lifestyle changes?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I basically just kind of started from the ground up on just about everything.
Okay.
Like went through and actually got myself on a good diet and not really just like, having to do those fly by night things that you only stick to for a couple of months and then fall off, but like really committed to just eating healthy. And then obviously building up a workout routine and kind of finding a way to not make it feel like working out, but just finding little things to keep yourself interested and progressing and trying new things. So that's been a whole thing. It's kind of hard to describe it, but I never thought I would be in this position, like looking back and kind of being excited about like, oh, I'm going to do this for a workout and that should be fun.
I think that's one of the hardest parts is like, I really like doing a lot of yoga, and it's different movements every single time you take a new class, but like I still go to the gym and I'll have my same workout routine because I want whatever part of my body to look a certain way, and it's boring. Like you got to keep it interesting.
Yeah. Actually, I do a bit of yoga too, and my sister's
Cool.
an instructor. So, in the beginning of the COVID crisis, she was doing like Zoom yoga classes and stuff.
Awesome.
But, yeah. Have you done hot yoga before?
Yeah, like Bikram.
Oof. Yeah,
Dude,
that shit's intense.
Yeah.
The first yoga thing that we did was hot yoga, right? Where you invited me to Full Lotus?
No, I mean that was a hot vinyasa. Like I think he's talking about Bikram, like 120 degrees in a room. Like
See, that's what's up, dude. Puhy. I mean, so funny story. Well, first of all, Puhy and I, we played in a band together for a long time, and then towards the end of the band, we started getting super creative with like using the trailer as a sauna. I don't know if I told you this true, but what was it in like Vegas, like Nevada?
Vegas sweatbox. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Either started in Arizona or Las Vegas, but like we were just, I would come out and then he would go. So we trade places in the trailer sauna and just sweat out whatever, things that we had in our system.
can you guys give me an idea of what that smelled like?
You know what? It actually didn't smell as bad as you would think, but I think that was because people were consistently spraying it with, Febreze and letting it air out. But yeah, I mean, I remember in earlier years opening up that fucking thing, and there was like the shoe rack that hangs right from the door.
Oh man!
And you would just get a fresh whiff of 5 sweaty dudes' feet.
Yeah, that'll wake you
like,
up.
oh my god, it'll fucking kill you. Right, yeah. Yeah, it's funny though that you mentioned the Vegas sweatbox because we have a sauna at my parents' house that I got into using, and it's really small and has these tight wooden walls. And I swear to God, every time I go in there, I'm transplanted to that day in Vegas, just sitting in that fucking trailer, sweating it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things, like the other guys in the band would see it as crazy, but it was, it's life on the road. And, you and I always love like the sweat, like we'd be outside on the asphalt, just hanging out and shooting the shit and just sweating. And everyone's like, dude, aren't you hot? It's like, yeah, but it feels good.
Feels good, damn it.
Yeah,
but,
dude.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. This is about you. We're talking to you.
Well, I was gonna say beyond the health stuff and working out, been doing a lot of music. I think that's been one of the major saving graces of this last year for sure. I don't know, kind of being able to rediscover it and fall in love with it again has helped keep me sane for sure. But it's really fun just being able to, like, after playing those same songs and doing that same thing in the same routine for so long, which you can translate to just any part of your life. Like, even with music, it was like, it just became a thing that I was just doing. And then, having to find ways to keep myself sane and busy, I just started like really delving back into old music books and busted out all my piano stuff and just started relearning a lot of things that I had forgotten and learning some things that I, hadn't even gotten to yet. And it's totally changed how I feel about making music. And, I ended up getting a little recording rig together, and I've probably spent more time sitting in front of that fucking computer and sitting on my practice pad than anything else. I wish I would have been keeping a tally, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's fun. It sucks. Like when you're in the middle of doing it and you're doing some edit or working on some part, and then 12 hours later, you're still working on the same 4 bars, but it's just like so rewarding, like looking back at the progress after the fact and being like, oh wow, I made that. Like that's awesome.
Well,
like,
I think it goes back to just like we were talking with gym routines. Like you guys hit it so hard playing shows, especially like after Tasty Nasty. Like you were playing pretty much just that record nonstop. And so finding an outlet to play something new, to learn skills, or go back 20 years to when you started playing drums has got to be a really beautiful thing to do once that's all over.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's been really fun. Like I kind of don't know how to describe it, but I'm really lucky that I've, kind of been able to have the environment I've had with this whole quarantine thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are not as lucky, and it's been a great environment for rebuilding just about everything. But musically, it's been the biggest gift ever. Thing I'm most thankful for, that's for sure.
On that COVID note, I just feel like there were a few months of just kind of like, what's going on? Like, you do something for so long and you're like, what am I doing with my life now? It just stopped. And, obviously we made the choice to do the band for, whatever personal reasons. And it was great. I would never trade it for anything, but it was like, I think after it ended and then with COVID hitting, like I probably speak for all of us. Like, I feel like I realized a lot of habits I had developed over the years.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that, kind of brings us to this, what I think the three of us have had a little epiphany about is alcohol consumption. Like when I was off work and I was writing for Lost for Life and Drew and I had Prescribed Fires going, it was like, hey, it's 2 p.m., but I have nothing to do. Like I don't have to drive anywhere. I've worked out in the morning and I think I might crack a Blake's. And, one thing leads to another. It's like 7 p.m. I've had, 4 or 5 drinks, and then, I'm starting to build this immunity to it, and then I'm starting to build the addiction to it. So, one of the reasons I feel like you're perfect for this conversation is because you and I and Drew and I and the three of us, we have such a combined history of partying together, and alcohol being such a huge part of that. And, how, I guess like, we chat on the side about, reducing alcohol consumption, going dry. We just had a dry January, Drew and I. Have you are you completely free of booze right now? I mean, have you, even for you and I going personally, a few days without having a single drink was that's a huge hump already. But like, so going a full month was like this massive achievement for me personally. I mean, how's that changed for you, man?
I have an easy way of remembering. It was March 13th is the last time I had any sort of booze. And I was actually doing a fill-in for this Irish band, Stone Clover. And it was one of the last live events that they were allowing to do before this full shutdown. And played the set at PJ's Lager House, and then
classic
had went to the bar and had a shot of booze with the band, and then that was it. But before that, I was kind of like leaning towards wanting to to give it up, but after that point, it was not a drop, and it was surprisingly easy because like you were saying, the COVID time kind of forced you to realize bad habits or habits that you had. And I mean, I think COVID kind of forced everyone to kind of have to look inwards a lot. Mm-hmm. And so, I had those same realizations, and, I had been thinking that and had that mindset for a while. So going into this whole thing, it was almost like tailor-made for what I was trying to do because, with my job, I work as a loader at all these venues. So you're around bands and friends, and there's always booze and there's always partying. And then obviously with the band life, like there's always booze and there's always partying. And so having that constant exposure, it's really tough to say no. Like for me, it's tough. You can always just be like, oh, I'll have one, but I'm not the type of person that has one. It's like, I'll have one. And then 10 minutes later, I'll just have one more. And then before you know it, you're completely out of it by the end of the night.
Yeah. And, It was funny because Drew, a little disclaimer, like we were listening to how many you knows you were saying. And we were laughing because we know, we were just talking about that. But like, I just started out saying it to you right there.
It's hard. It's a crutch word.
But
I'm going to try and count.
But, as you know, the three of us, we also, aside from music, because influential surroundings are huge. And the three of us, we were involved with music for a long time, but we also went to colleges where alcohol is massive. And if you're not tailgating, at MSU, if it's 8 a.m. and you're not up drinking a beer at 8 a.m. on tailgate day, there's something wrong with you at that point.
Yeah. My thing is, I realized I just started thinking about it the last few months. Like it has been, probably going on 15 years where I haven't taken a week or two off from drinking. And I'm not saying that I drink 24/7. I don't drink hard all the time, but I mean, a couple beers on a weekend or whatever. I haven't taken a month off since I was 18 years old. So it's, to me personally, like the way I see it is I have a drink at night when I get home from work. I wake up the next day. I get up at 5:30 for work. I'm super tired. I go right to Tim Hortons. I get that coffee. I drink the caffeine. I get my rush. I, eat lunch and then I calm down and I need more coffee. And it's that cyclical thing just from having one beer or one whiskey the night before. And it's a rut that I'd like to experiment with, which is why it's been cool to take a gap from drinking for about a month and just see how I feel. And my mood has totally been better. This year, Fueled by Choice is super excited to be a community partner for the upcoming Camp Kula Bunga virtual retreat. It takes place February 20th to 21st, and it's a 2-day at-home retreat curated by Grizz and friends, providing live stream and off-screen activities focused on radical inclusion, community, self-empowerment, wellness, and playfulness. Let this be a guide for you to gather necessary tools to support your mental health and physicality. You can purchase packages through the link in the Camp Kula Bunga bio on Instagram or directly from the link in our bio at Fueled by Choice for a 15% discount automatically applied.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a creature of habit. So, when I find a routine, whether or not it's good for me, that's typically what I do. I like the repetition. So, this whole year has been a chance for me to set up a lifestyle where, that creature of habit thing is all included with, healthy things, whatever it's going to be, like, from eating to what I'm doing for exercise, reading, what I'm watching, like all of that. There was this opportunity to just take it all from the ground and build it back up. And there was no excuse not to. And, I think that is so amazing. And I really can't be more thankful for this period of time and having the chance to do that, because, you would see, or I would notice after a few weeks or a month, like all these bad habits that I was kind of slowly changing over, feeling the change from it.
Yeah.
It was just, it made such perfect sense. But, when you're in the middle of doing all this bad shit to your body, you don't have that kind of clarity or feeling at any point. So, you just kind of become so hooked on that, like that routine that, it's just normal for you. Once you've had time to really build up something healthy for yourself and you're able to feel the benefit of it, it's easy to stick with it.
What
a lot easier than I would have thought.
You said you had, bad routines, bad rituals, whatever. And I know that one of the healthiest things you can do is to have a set routine in the morning or at night. What does that look like for you when you get out of bed?
Get up, I chug my 12 ounces of water, do about a 10-minute stretch, about a 10-minute warm up on my drum pad. And typically while I'm warming up on the pad, I'm making some kind of breakfast. And and then I shower and then just kind of get on with my day.
Man,
It's
stretching is one of those things.
Yeah.
It's like breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy. They recommend, take some deep breaths in the day just for your well-being. But man, like stretching and breathing, it's so easy. But it's been so hard to do it.
I think playing drums too, I think meditating in the morning is a beautiful thing to do. And playing drums is a total meditative mindset. Like you're getting out of your own head. And that's an awesome thing, whether it's playing guitar, playing drums, sitting and breathing, whatever, you're doing it.
Absolutely. And I've actually used a couple meditation apps, just for kind of shits and giggles, which
apps?
I did. There was one I think called Meditation. I'd have to take a look. I had only kind of like messed around with them for a week or two.
Sure.
But those were kind of cool. But yeah, the whole playing thing, it's like free therapy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It totally takes your head out of whatever you've got on your mind. And that's a really great way to just kind of start things off. But the stretching thing too, in my workouts, I use this Beachbody app, or used. And
you can tell.
Thank you.
Beachbody Puhy.
That's right. So, but it's got in these programs, they have like these cool down stretches that I never, did when I was working out on my own.
Would you get to the end, like when it said cool down, just be like, all right, I'm good, I'm done?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, fuck that. I'm not doing more stuff. I just did all of this stuff.
I gave you 30 minutes of my time.
Right? You didn't say 32. You said 30, right? But, slowly but surely, I started getting into doing those. And, I could just tell my body would recover like quicker, or I wouldn't be sore at all. And then, kind of through poking around and a little research here and there, it was just a suggestion of starting off with something in the morning that activates your body, loosens yourself up. So just little things like that are kind of part of my routine now.
I always thought it was interesting that I had heard like stretching in yoga helps prevent injury, and I'm like, how does that make sense? And I was walking out of work a couple months ago, and I totally like botched this, like missed this curb and twisted my ankle, and I'm like, if I hadn't done yoga for a year, I probably would have like broken my ankle. Like my bone would probably be hanging out of my foot right now, and I'm glad that it's not, or at least that's the way I'm going to look at it.
I'll say this much. My experience as a drummer has saved my life and limbs on numerous occasions. The workout routines I'm doing at home.
You've always had the calves of steel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the calves, I don't really have to work out too much, but everything else needs a good polishing. But there's been a couple times where I've had barbells almost fall on my face. I was using those resistance bands for a while. One of them flew off and like whizzed right by my head. But thankfully, the hand-eye coordination, I've been able to kind of duck and dodge out of every little random thing. But I'm pretty sure if I wasn't a drummer and was trying to do what I've been doing workout-wise, I probably would have been paralyzed by now.
I got a quick question for you. On the topic of alcohol, I was just thinking about the times in the day where I start to crave it. Like, when did you crave it most? Obviously when you were getting over the hump. I don't know if you went cold turkey or not, but is there a certain point of the day, like 8 p.m., where you're just kind of sitting around, you're like, I don't know, that bottle of Jack's looks pretty good? Because I think for me, it's always been, I use the word boredom, but I don't know if boredom's even the right word. It's just like when the day's done and there's absolutely nothing left to do, that was usually my time to kind of like go for it. Did you have any of those? Did you have any of those moments, or like?
Not a time in the day, but more or less just like a mental place. Like if, I was dealing with something that was pissing me off or depressing or whatever, it would always just be like, my knee-jerk reaction would be like, dude, I want a fucking shot. So unfortunately, I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing to admit it, but there'd be times where I'd wake up first thing in the fucking morning. I'd be feeling like shit or whatever. I'd be like, I want a fucking shot. So, it was more my mental state that kind of triggered wanting to have a drink, not so much the time in the day.
I mean, I think that's ingrained in us all. It's like, oh, it's Friday night, Saturday night, the week's over. Let's drink. Like, get rid of that stressful week. It's not, that's just the way it is, the way we're raised. So
yeah, and you kind of realize how fucked up that is.
Totally.
Yeah.
On just the ingrained part, it's hilarious, man, because I drive home on 94. For anybody who doesn't live in Detroit, 94 is like right through the heart of the city. But on both sides, you either have, like a liquor or beer advertisement or some kind of marijuana advertisement. And it's whatever, but it just kind of just goes to show it's that just ingrained in the society, like, hey, you need this to deal with what you're dealing with. And, obviously there's a lot of benefits for marijuana, but the benefits of alcohol, it's like, man, I saw 50 advertisements on my 30-minute drive home. And then you get home, and then sure enough, that time of the day rolls around. And you're like, well, it's Friday. Like you said, it's Friday night. Let's see what Drew's doing. Head over, have a couple bourbons. And
if you're going eastbound on 94, you can pull off to a liquor store, get on westbound, and stop at a dispensary, and you're good to go. By the time you're home, you're...
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I definitely had those triggers just driving around everywhere, like liquor store sign. My flash thought would be like, oh, I could use some booze, but again, having to be isolated gave me the opportunity to just not have any of that, like not be exposed to any of that. I didn't have to drive from work in Detroit out to the burbs, every night, and so all those little things, all those little triggers, being able to get rid of those kind of added up and helped in a way that I didn't notice. But, in hindsight, that all kind of added up.
Well, when you're to a point where you're by yourself, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things of this whole quarantine pandemic. One of the silver linings is you gain recognition of your habits. So if I'm sitting here by myself and I'm not driving or coming home from work and stopping by the liquor store, I literally have to make that effort to go drive and get that beer. And then it's like, I went and got a 30 pack of Bud Light, and here I am sitting here by myself drinking this. Like, I need to change my mindset here a little bit because I just made an effort to go do that. And that's kind of a scary thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I had more times like that than I care to admit, where it's just like, this whole year, I'm going to be on my own, sitting in a room, drinking by myself. That is pretty fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
And to each his own. If that's what you need to get through whatever you're dealing with or whatever, then fine. But for me to have that kind of flash and just be like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I know that's what I'm going to do with my time. And that is going to turn me into, a bigger pile of shit than I already am. So
it's an amazing thing to realize that and have some introspection there, and then be vulnerable about it and talk about it too, man. It's awesome.
It's tough to do, but honestly, like, having to do it on your own, I don't know. It was the perfect way for me personally to do it, because I knew what I wanted to do, and at the end of the day, if you're sure of yourself and you're sure of what you want to do and you choose to do what you're going to do, then that's all that really matters. So you put the blinders on, and then you can just kind of chip away at what you're trying to achieve. That's why, like, this whole thing was just such a perfect situation, because I knew I had the feeling inside that I wanted to really, really change these things. And that was that. So I couldn't be affected by band drama or people at work or relationship or anything. It was just, you sit here and you fucking focus on yourself and you deal with it and you get through it. Every little bit adds up, and before you know it, you're looking back and being just absolutely thankful for the opportunity to do that. It's an amazing thing.
That's awesome, man. Well, Puhy, it's good to hear from you. We appreciate you so much for being our first guest. This is awesome.
It's an honor.
Well, it's an honor for us to have you on and have you talk. You're obviously being very transparent and honest with us about yourself, and you're obviously doing a super awesome job with your own personal wellness. And I just keep it up, man. I'm proud of you. I love you, dude.
Thank you. I love you too, man. Thank you. It's an honor to be a part of this. Seeing your guys' company grow in the way it has, it's like I'm really, really proud of what you guys are doing. And I think the style of company and what you guys stand for is what is going to make it successful, because you're doing it for the right reasons and for, something that people can be inspired by and people can really get behind. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
It means a lot. It's been awesome to talk to you. We just want to ask you one more question. What does it mean to you to be fueled by choice?
I guess it would mean a life free of regret. When you're able to choose what you're doing, you're fueled by that choice, then yeah, you can't really look back and regret anything you didn't do.
Awesome.
Amen to that.
Beautiful words, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, duder. I will catch you later. Have a good one. Enjoy your night.
Yeah, you
All
too.
right, see you, Puhy.
Bye, guys.